Alrighty, so we've got ourselves the 2022 Toyota Tundra Crewmax rear here. It is the 60/40, so 60% meaning the driver's side is bigger, passenger side is smaller, and it does have a fold down armrest sitting right here in the middle. Your bottoms come up and the backrests come down. So we are going to cover all of this, starting with the headrests. So the headrests will have an H on them, designate that. These two headrests will be the same cover, obviously, and the middle one will have this small little one that goes right there. So I'm going to go ahead and release the backrest. The way I have the headrest sitting there right in front of me. Now this is going to grip the headrest real tight. It's going to look like it doesn't fit, but the reasoning for that is it's got to get around this big bolster to suck back in at the bottom. So we're just going to fit it on there and saw it down. Alright, so now that it's on there, you want to try and massage it so that it's even on both sides. Once you get it on there, we're going to go ahead and push the button on the underside. Release it. It'll flop over. We're going to push both buttons, pull it off. Okay, so now we'll see some loop on the underside, hook here, fold it up underneath. We got ourselves a nice tight fit. So now we've got the middle headrest here. As you can see, it's got a bit of a hook to it. Well, so does our cover. So just kind of insert the hook there, pull it over, and then just kind of massage it backwards. Okay, I'm going to release this one, pull it out. And you can see it's got this bit of a dip in the back from the hook, so I'm going to try and lay this in there nice and flat, and then just lay those hooks over it and pull them over it. It may seem a little bit looser, but that's just so that it can actually compress against this flat like it was before. Okay, but otherwise it's covered. Alright, so now I've got the bottom to do. We've got our piece here. The extending Velcro are on the top, and then a long strip is on the bottom. We don't have to worry about the child restraints. They're connected to the actual cab itself, so they're always exposed, regardless of whether you want it or not. So we're going to lift the seat bottom up. Going to lock it in for a second where we can get this positioned on here. Pull it over. Give it a good tug. There we go. Give that side a good bit. Now we're going to wait to hook these on, because we got to get these tops tucked in there. To go behind pretty easily, Do watch your fingers. There are like flat pieces of metal, and I often have cut my nail on them. Okay. So as you can see, we got the split here for the seat belt to come through. We'll lock her back in there and pull it nice tight and connect her. Do the same here. Now you want to make sure, I can see that I got a little bit of a bubbly thing going on here. I don't want that. So just make sure it's kind of as straight as it can be. Okay. There. That way. Bubble there too. There we go. So now we have the opening for the bottom. So I'm gonna pull down on it and get it connected. Oh. Bubble there. Okay. Get connected, and then get that one connected. There. That gives you room for your split there. You'll be good to go. So now we've got the backrest to do, which has an arm that we're going to have to go around. You'll also see these little tether flaps. They just fold backwards, no big deal. We do leave the hole itself exposed. You'll still be able to tether, you know, your car seat. And of course this will be exposed so you can still latch. So no big deal there. Now this guy did disconnect his rear seat belt. You can do that too. Where it latches in, there's just a little gray button you push in with like a flat object, and it'll pop this thing loose. It'll make your install easy. Okay, but yeah, he didn't want it, so he's leaving it back there. I'm going to too. So we're gonna pull this over. You know, make sure your arm is in there. And as you're pulling it down, we don't want to pull it down all the way, because we've got to get the arm actually through its encasement hole. So I'm going to open that up and start letting it go through as I pull down the rest of this. Keep pulling her all down. Before we get too ahead of ourselves, we've got a couple things we want to be pushing through these holes. Now the headrest holes here actually have a big black rim around them. It doesn't matter what side you start on with these, since the push button's safe right there in the middle. So no big deal there. Now you do have a hole for your little strap. It does not tuck behind the plastic there, so don't try it. You might break your plastic doing that. And then the rear, the middle seat ones do have a little push button there, so we want to of course start on that side. The reason you want to start on that side, you know, your push button side, is if you start on the other side, it puts all the force on this side when you're trying to pull it back over, and you might break your button. So always, always, always start on your push button side to help protect it. So there's no button on this one, so it doesn't matter where I start on this one. And there we go. Those are in. Great. Now, continue getting this formed out correctly. Make sure nothing's turned in on itself. There. Now, we've got to get these under the seat. The two on this side are pretty easy, but the three over here will have this plastic in the way, and it doesn't give you a whole lot of room to get them through. So we're going to go ahead and tuck them through as much as you can. Watch out for the child restraints on this side. Those are in the way, and we're just going to go right above those. You can see this one popping through. See this one popping through. Ooh, that one's popping through. And there's the last one. So there's a lot of this fuzz here, which the Velcro of course sticks to. What I do in order to stop it from sticking to it directly while I'm pulling on it is I'll take my hand and I'll put it in between and then use both of those to pull it up and then paste it down. So, stick it in between, pull it up, paste it on. Paste it on. Same with this side. Paste it on. Paste it on. Okay. Now then, we can take that and just, there we go. And you see a bit of a ripple in here. The reasoning for that is because now we got to finish the install to the arm itself. So the encasement has Velcro that's on the bottom, and it has a Velcro flap on the inside, and those two are going to connect to each other. First we got to get this flap tucked up underneath here. The bottom here has like no room to it, so you kind of got to try and use the arm to wedge your hand and the material up in there. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold this over my hand like this. I'm going to try and get it underneath there with the arm down. And I'm going to go like this and crank my hand up with it. And you'll get it up in there. Like so. Alright, so before I connect it, I'm going to pull this up as much as I can. I'm going to hold it back. I'm going to lift this up a little bit. And I can see that there's a little bit of material that's getting wrapped up around the corners here. So this is where I'm going to take this little device. It's literally just a flat piece of metal. It's not serrated, not sharp, you know, whatever. It's not going to cut the material. You can use a butter knife or other flat pieces of plastic or metal, whichever might work for you, and just kind of tuck, you know, make sure you're getting in there really deep around the edges of this thing. Just make sure we get all that in there. Okay, so now we're gonna take it, pull up as much as we can and lay it flat there. Now your arm, or the top part of the encasement, we want to push it in there and try and form it to the area, and then just lay it on there, and that'll sit in there just like that. And you'll see it pull on it every time you close it, but Should work just fine. Sometimes you'll get this little extra bulge out there. You know, I just didn't quite get everything in there. You take this time to make sure you get the rest of that in there, and then you can retighten it if needs be. Once you get it on there. After you get it in there, you can see that the wrinkles up here pretty much straightened out, but sometimes you'll get some excess sitting down here now. So, you know, this is a good time where you can pop it back down. Now that the armrest is actually fully installed, or the encasement, you can see that I got a little bit more material out of there. So I can tighten it up just a bit more. Plop that back down. And there we go. Okay. So next we've got the arm itself. It has an opening here, and we added a pull tab to it, so it's not as difficult to get back out of there. This is going to be real tight, just like those headrests. It's going to look like it ain't fitting, but you just got to get it down to the end, and it'll be fine. Alright, now we're gonna yank on the bottom there. Now we're going to get this pulled up underneath the plastic. Just got to push in there and pretty easily do it with your hand. There's plenty of space for it to sink underneath there. No big deal. Next, we gotta now try and get this flap back up in between the arm and the opening. So we're gonna do a similar method to how we got it up. We got the bottom piece up there before. I'm gonna tuck it around my fingers and just kind of lever it up there. And now I've got it through, so I'm gonna pull on the rest of it to try and get her as tight as she'll go. All right. So for temporary, I'm gonna just paste those two together. There's that top flap here. And what we're doing is we're gonna clean up these corners similar to the bottom. Sometimes just wrap around there, and we're gonna wanna push them back in. Now that those are in there, I'm going to pull on those corners. Push this. Pull that down. Now you can take this and shove back in around these corners here to get it all to kind of meld together around their corners here. Okay. And there we go. Arm. And there we go. The arm is installed. Alright. Now the passenger side also, of course, comes up, and it has a tab to pull down with. It installs the same way as the bottom and the top backrest here. Just obviously no arm encasement you need to fit on there. It just slides over and connects just like, you know, this side did. But other than that, aside from putting the headrests back in, this one's good to go.